G'day, and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And basically my entire life, my family has owned Honda Jazzes. Mum and Dad both had first gens when I was a kid, and then when I turned 10, Dad bought the coolest car in the world. Or so I thought at the time. A New Zealand new 2008 second gen Honda Jazz 1.5 Sport, which incidentally turned out to be the very first car that I reviewed here on the channel. I learned to drive in Mum's Honda Fit, and when I started my job at Honda 6 years ago, the first car I sold was the Jazz RS my dad's got now. But strangely though, even though I've lived and breathed Honda Jazzes my entire life, I've never actually owned one myself. Until now! This is a 2006 Honda Jazz 1.3 manual that I bought from Turner's Damaged for just $2,700. And what an absolute weapon of a machine it is. Today, we're going to be restoring this mustard yellow Jazz to its former glory with a host of mechanical fixes, an almighty good clean inside and out. And then at the end, I'm going to take it for a good drive and show you why this is without doubt the best small car ever made. After bidding on the Jazz and winning it, me and Angel took the Barina I restored last week down to collect it from the local Turner's yard. What do you think? The yellow beast?
It's a bit hideous.
165,000
It's not my colour or style.
What do you mean? You love the yellow Skoda. The yellow Skoda looked great.
This is a must.
Buff that. This is all mint. A few scratches there, but that's not too bad. Yeah, some bad touch-ups on the bonnet. The hubcaps are pretty ugly. These tyres, they're getting a bit low. You know, it's so funny that Mum and Dad have owned Jazzes all my life, and I've never actually bought a Jazz myself. This is the first Jazz I've ever bought. Wow, that's our 1.3. Oh, look at that, new alternator. What a machine. Right, let's hit the road. It's so funny, like, it's really slow, but because the gears are so short, look, only gets to 80 in second. You know, it's barely moving, but it feels like really fast, and you can just go bang through all the gears. This thing's fantastic. And so, with the car home, let's go over some of the mechanical things that we need to fix on it. The front tyres are a little bit too low to pass a warrant of fitness, so either I'll have to get a couple tyres to put onto the standard wheels, which, let's be honest, don't look particularly great on these Repco special hubcaps, or I'll try find some new Jazz Sport alloys, hopefully for reasonably cheap. The auction description stated that there was a bit of underbody rust, and I can see a few orange crispy things under the engine bay here, so I guess when we take it for a warrant of fitness, we'll just have to see if that becomes an issue. Otherwise, in theory, if I chuck a couple tyres on it, it should fly through a warrant of fitness, and then it just needs good clean inside and out, and it's all ready to hit some VTEC. Yeah! So, with the mighty yellow Jazz acquired, I began by sourcing some tyres for it. Unfortunately, after searching high and low, I just couldn't find any decent alloys for it. Every listing that was cheap enough either came with just 3 wheels, which is no good to me, or the tyres were in even worse condition than what I already had on there, or they were miles away in Auckland and more than I budgeted to spend. So, I was really left with no choice but to just get a couple of cheap front tyres. $60, and I had a pair of 175/65 R14s that I took down to Honda to get fitted and to see if the Jazz would pass a warrant of fitness. Fortunately, with the new tyres installed, it did pass. The underbody rust mentioned in the auction description they couldn't really find, and everything else appeared to be in great shape. So the Jazz is all legal, and now all it needs is a good clean, and then I can demonstrate why this is unquestionably the best small car ever made. I peeled off all of the stickers on the back window to tidy it up a bit, and then gave the Jazz a good wash, which honestly it barely even needed. I could tell this car had definitely been looked after in the past, and so, after soaping it down and drying it off, clay barring all of the bodywork and polishing a few of the scratches, I applied some Bowden speed machine to seal the paint, leaving water running off it like a duck's back, and moved inside. The interior was in great shape too. It was that typical old person clean inside, where everything was very dusty and there were plenty of crumbs in all the gaps between panels, but it was far from what you'd describe as filthy. After vacuuming all the carpets and mats, I then brushed out and wiped down all the plastics, switches, trim pieces and windows, and at long last it was time to photograph the yellow beast and get it listed for sale. So why is the Jazz the best small car in the world? Well, for starters, it's got a bomb-proof but also extremely efficient 1.3 litre engine. It's got one of the best feeling gearboxes, period, not even just for a small car. And the interior build quality is excellent. I mean, the steering wheel's like to fall apart a bit, but the radio and climate controls, indicator stalks, even the window switches feel great, especially when compared with other cars from the era, like the Barina I restored last week, which felt like it was sitting inside a baked bean tin. But by far the two best features of the Jazz is the drive, which we'll get to in a sec, and the magic seats. This is by far and away the most practical small car you can buy. Fold the seats down completely flat and you basically have yourself a Honda Jazz van, but you can also flip them up the base, making it easy to clean, and you can fit taller items in where the back seats would normally be. It's absolutely genius, and I'm amazed that no other manufacturer has copied it. And then there's the drive. Sure, it's not fast, but then again it doesn't need to be, because the engine feels like it wants to be revved out. There's so many generic 4-cylinders and even fairly high performance ones that I've driven, like the 3SGE, that just sound strained at the higher RPM, like they really don't want to do what you're making them do, whereas this is as happy as Larry from idle to rev cut at 6,500 RPM. And then there's the gear ratios. I know I keep banging on about it, but genuinely, it barely does 50 in first, 80 in second, and just a tad over 100 in third. You can use all of the gears all of the time. I recently reviewed a B18 swapped EK Civic, and you would think with its 9,500 RPM redline that it would be far superior to this, but in some ways no, because second gear took you to well over 100 kilometers an hour, which down a back road like this is just reckless. So you found yourself just only driving in second gear. The whole point of having 5 ratios that you can change yourself down here is that you can go through the gears yourself. Even right down into first gear, you can use it, foot hard down, up into second. This is what driving is about. To put it another way, if this car came out when my dad was a kid, he probably would have considered it to be a hot hatch. It's got a zingy little 4-cylinder engine up the front, it's light, it's got 5 close ratios down here. These days we're spoiled with hatchbacks that make 250, 300 kilowatt, which is 3 or 4 times what they used to make just a few years ago. But what truly makes the drive of the Jazz great is not necessarily that it's the fastest car in the world, or that it has the best steering feel or the best handling or anything like that. It certainly doesn't. What appeals to me is that you can use 100% of the available performance in the handling, acceleration and braking department down a back road, or even when just cruising around town like this. You can use all that it's got to give all of the time, and it feels great while you're doing it. So there we are. The yellow Honda Jazz has been restored, and hopefully I've had the opportunity to demonstrate the sheer brilliance that is the Honda Jazz or the Honda Fit overseas. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.